has a presumption that this is going to be a touching story between a mom and a son. And then I can ask you to think again. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So my topic for today's speech is never mess with your mom. So when I was a kid, almost 7, 8 years old, we were staying in a quarters. So the reason behind staying in the quarters is it's near to my dad's workplace, and the quarters is constructed in such a way that we have 400 individual houses in a sprawling 600-acre land. So it's so huge in area, and the quarters is also planned in such a way that we have a common lawn for every 20 houses. So for each and every 20 houses, we'll be having a common lawn. So that's the place where I used to play when I come back from the school. And we also have inter-lawn conflicts, right? So we can't go to the next lawn and play. So we may be forced to answer the questions from the kids who are playing in the other lawns. Like, where are you from and what are you doing here? So how it goes further depends on our first two answers. And then, so what is my routine is that I come from the school, I'll go to the ground, I'll be playing there till my mom thinks that it's enough for him for today's play and it's time for him to take his book on his hands. So when my mom decides that, okay, he has to study now, she'll come to the lawn and she'll take me to the home. And this is how it goes on a day-to-day basis. On one fine day, instead of my mom, I saw my dad coming to the lawn. And to my surprise, is that he came to me and he was asking me that I'm going to my friend's house. Would you be interested to join me? And I said, your friend's house? Why should I join with you? And he said, I thought if you join with me, I could get you an ice cream. So that 8-letter magical word made me to stop thinking about anything else, and I just went with my dad. So we had a cycle those days, and he used to pedal with me sitting in the cycle bar. And whenever I go with my dad, he has a practice of telling me his life stories. So when I was a kid, this is what I was doing, this is what I was, this is my experience and so on. So he used to tell so many stories, and he also expects me to acknowledge them. So what I do is that I'll say, and I'll keep counting from 1 to 15. 1 to 15, and again. So without listening to his speech, all I'll be doing is just the humming part, and my dad would be continuing with this storytelling part. And we reached my dad's friend's house, and we were there for some time. And while we were returning back, my dad got me an 8-letter thing. Could you guess what it would be? Ice cream. But it's not an ice cream, it's a rose milk. So to my surprise, I couldn't say anything because those days it was so hard to get an ice cream or milk. So I didn't say anything, and I had rose milk, and I was coming back with my dad. And my dad's storytelling process was continuing. But this time I didn't acknowledge him. Thought that this is the way I can protest my dad for not getting me an ice cream. And even being a brilliant guy, he could guess that, okay, what's your problem? Why you are not acknowledging my stories? And I said that you told me that you will get me an ice cream, but you didn't get me an ice cream. So what's the deal? And my dad said like, okay, so you want an ice cream, then that's not a big deal, I'll get you an ice cream. And we went to the ice cream shop, we had ice creams, and we were returning back. In the meantime, my mom was searching for me in all the entire lawns and in the entire quarters. So it's like almost we were roaming almost around 600 acres of land searching for me, and I was roaming here with my dad. I was in the assumption that my dad would have informed my mom about taking me out, but he didn't do that. And we were returning home, and I was so excited. First being I got an ice cream, second I also got a rose milk, and third is that my sister did not get any of those things. I was really excited. Oh my God, I need to say this to someone or else my head will blow away. So as soon as I entered the house, I was running towards my mom, just to express my back and I hit a door and then I landed on the ground. And she said, "Inmate veliya poradha solittu po." So which translates to, if you are planning to go anywhere, inform me before you leave the house. So and I couldn't see anything for a couple of minutes. All I could see was the darkness. So I was so much damaged. So but I want to prove my innocence. So I was about to point it to my dad that I didn't do anything. It was my dad actually. But I can see my dad was standing with a pale face, and his face reaction reads that will I be the next one to get the slap. So actually I saved my dad on that day, and from that day onwards, so whenever I leave my home, I never forget to inform my mom that where I am heading towards. And as we grow up, right, so there are so many changes we can face, there are so many environmental changes we can experience, but few things remain same, and one among them is I never miss with my mom. Over to Toastmasters.